Mama Reacts, back with a brand new video. And today for this video, we have Why Was Arceus' fourth creation a mistake by Amazed Dragon. Now, I know this ain't one of the videos y'all recommended me to react to, but if this is a theory that I think it is, then this is one I really want to react to. So if you don't know, I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I played a whole lot of the games. I haven't played them all. There's still a few ones that I missed. Um, I keep up with the games. I watch the anime. I buy the Pokemon cards. I'm planning on getting Pokemon Legends ZA when it comes out in October. I am a huge Pokemon fan. Alright, it's literally been my childhood. So yeah, love Pokemon. I literally got Pokemon posters in my room. You can't see them right now. You can just see the ones I got up here right now with Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Freddy, and there's a Venom one right there if you couldn't tell. But yeah, I got Pokemon posters here too. But yeah, I've just been a huge fan of the series, so I really wanted to make this video today. And but to go on though about this theory though, this is one theory. Now, granted, this could be a theory that already existed out there, but it's just one that I've always been headcanoning every time, whenever I watch the series, and every time I see like Giratina and stuff like that. So if you already know the lore, if you're a Pokemon fan, you already know the lore. Arceus, like Pokemon God, and he created the creation trio being Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. But if you don't know about Giratina, it's always been said that Giratina was banished to the distortion world because of its violence. That's all they ever give us in the Pokédex entries. To me, that's always been weird that that's all they ever said. They just said because of violence. They didn't say specifically what he did, or he or she or whatever. But I think Giratina's genderless, so genderless. So I guess it. But um, it never specifically said what Giratina did. So I've always had the theory, since Giratina is like the god of antimatter, what if there was a god of matter? Where's the god of matter at? Because we already have the opposite. Because they always have the opposite, right? So you got the Olga, the god of time, and Palkia, the god of space. Those are like two polar opposites from each other. So you would think the god of antimatter would also have a god of matter. My theory was always that Giratina killed the god of matter, and that's what made Arceus angry enough to banish him. But so I'm hoping that's what this theory is about, and hopefully I'm pretty close to what I was thinking. But yeah, I'm sorry to rant this much before the video started, but y'all know, but you know me, you know I like Pokemon, so I get a little hype for it. So anyhow, let's just go ahead and get into this.
Arceus created the Pokemon of Myth in order to guard over the domains of time, space, and antimatter. However, I don't think that this recount of history is complete. The evidence scattered throughout the games point towards there being a fourth member, and I believe that this fourth guardian was the original dragon that later split into Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. We know there was...
Whoa. Okay, I didn't expect that. I didn't. I was expecting it to be a Pokemon. I mean, granted, that's still a Pokemon we never seen the original dragon. Like, I've never played the Black and White games. I just know some of the lore. Being the original dragon, mean, I would really like to see. I really want them to make a Unova remake. But yeah, I was not expecting that. I gotta hear now. I really gotta hear this theory. The original dragon was part of the creation trio. I really gotta hear this now.
A fourth guardian, as each of the creation dragons has a secondary typing that aligns with the state of matter. Dialga's steel typing ties it to solids, Palkia's water typing connects it to liquids, and Giratina's ghost typing links it to gases. But none of the three represent plasma in any shape or form. This fourth member would have embodied the aspect of energy. And how do we know that it was the original dragon who once represented plasma? Well, the first hint that is given to us is in the numbers themselves. The Pokemon of Myth actually have some really interesting statistics that show their correlation to Reshiram and Zekrom. All of their respective base stats total up to 680, with each individual value being shifted around based on the Pokemon themselves. Reshiram most closely resembles Dialga in terms of stats, having only their defense and special defense stats flipped. Zekrom, though, has a very different stat spread compared to any one of them, being the only one of the 5 to have an attack stat above 120. However, Kyurem's base stats are a jumbled mess compared to the others. Both of its defenses are lower than any of the other 5, and its attack stats are balanced between that of Reshiram and Zekrom. Kyurem's strange stat distribution, as well as the Dao Trio's ability to wield plasma, can be explained through their origins. There are 2 interpretations on how this trio of dragons came to be. The first one is that Reshiram and Zekrom were once part of a single powerful dragon who was used by twin heroes to create the Unova region. However, the brothers each sought something different in life. Truth for the older brother and ideals for the younger. Their conflicting views caused them to fight over which side was right, and in response, the single dragon split into two. Reshiram fought for truth, while Zekrom for ideals. In this first interpretation, Kyurem was believed to be different than the two. It was thought that it came from an icy meteor crash landing into a place called Giant Chasm. However, while this was thought to be true in the first games, the sequel gave us a different theory, and it's the one I'll be referencing to throughout the video. Drayden tells the player of an old legend that conflicts with Kyurem's origins. It states that when the original dragon split into Reshiram and Zekrom, a third dragon was created from the leftovers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just about to mention that it was stated that Kyurem's like the husk, and while you think of it like Kyurem's the chest, and then Reshiram and Zekrom are like the arms, kind of like Voltron. That's just the way I like to think of it.
This is then further supported by its Pokédex entry stating that it's waiting for a hero to fill its missing parts with ideals or truth. And then it's shown to be true when it undergoes fusion with either Reshiram or Zekrom. Reshiram wields white-hot fire, while Zekrom controls electricity. Together they symbolize two of the most common natural plasmas, but they also represent the two dualities in Taoism. Reshiram, who embodies Yang, uses its powers to actively burn anyone who ignores the truth. Its design was made to be light, airy, graceful, and feminine, which actually directly contrasts the traditionally male role Yang plays in Taoism. Zekrom, on the other hand, embodies Yin. The lightning it produces is fast and dynamic, slamming particles together with force. Its design was made to be tough and masculine in order to contrast both Reshiram's design as well as the...
Hey, Zekrom was like my favorite legendary for the longest time. Right now, he's still like number 2 right now, just because of the fact that Miraidon really grew on me. But yeah, he's still up there though.
Female role Yin usually plays. So while both control plasma to a certain extent, they don't control it in its purest form. Kyurem, in contrast, is said to possess a power exceeding even Reshiram's and Zekrom's. And that makes sense, as a dragon designed to control pure plasma would logically need to surpass the raw elemental power of fire and electricity. Furthermore, Kyurem's connection to absolute zero, which is the absence of all thermal energy, can be seen as the inverse pole of plasma, allowing the original Kyurem to control it, mirroring the concept of Wuji in Taoist philosophy. So when the twin aspects of Reshiram and Zekrom were split apart, Kyurem's original balanced form became unstable and left behind an empty husk, losing its place among the pantheon of creation dragons. That also means the Kyurem we meet in black and white is just a fractured remnant of that once whole plasma core. While we are able to use the DNA splicers to see parts of how Kyurem once looked like, the full appearance of the original dragon's complete form is unknown to us. Or is it? Well, yeah, mostly anyway.
What you mean?
In the manga, we do get to see the original dragon's silhouette. We're briefly shown a black and white winged two-horned figure, which honestly isn't a whole lot to go off of, but it's
Shoot, that ain't nothing to go off. That's dang near just the body. But yo, I really want to eventually see the original dragon and be able to catch it. I think that's why a lot of people were almost kind of hoping for like a Pokemon Legends Unova, and we get to see the original dragon. Man, that would be cool though. But yeah, I'm hyper to see it either way. But yeah, I got to read more of the Pokemon mangas. I remember I read, what was it called? Was it Pokemon Adventures or something like that? I started reading that manga, but I got to read some of the other ones.
better than nothing. If you've got some speculations what it might have actually once looked like, then do leave a comment. And while you're down there, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate every single one of you. The in-game evidence supporting our theory of Kyurem being the member that embodies energy is actually pretty plentiful. In Unova, there's a location called the Cave of Being. After you become the champion in White 2 and Black 2, this very cavern is visited by the Lake Trio, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azalf. Now, why would...
I was just about to say that cave looks a lot like the Lake Trio's cave. Well, I mean, I wasn't specifically going to say it looks like their cave, but I was going to say it's where it looks like one of the caves from one of the other Pokemon games. But but I was just going to chalk that up to just them reusing a similar design for the cave. But no, that's actually their cave. That's insane. Or at least if it's still in Universe, then it's a different cave still.
Sinnoh's psychic avatars of knowledge, emotion, and willpower be drawn to Unova? Well, it gets much easier to explain if the individual pieces of the energy creation dragon were to reside in this very region. Since the Lake Trio were first created by Arceus in order to calm and control Dialga, Palkia, and, in our theoretical case, the original dragon, it would make sense if they came to Unova because they were looking for the lost member. This is then further supported by their individual actions. After you encounter the trio in the cave, they fly off to various places, making you run across the whole damn country trying to catch them. Thanks, Nintendo. Uxie is found in...
Ooh, I hate that. I hated that. I can't remember. Did they do that in a different game that I had to do? Thank God in Pokemon Legends Arceus it was literally just go there and catch them. You know what? I'm thinking of Cresselia in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That one could have been that wasn't a bit of a pain in the butt to go get. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't think they did anything like that with Uxie. Well, they might have. Like, I can't remember. I haven't played Brilliant Diamond in a while.
Green City, right in front of their museum. The exact same building where the light or dark stone used to be found in. Well, before it was taken away by the player like 2 years prior to these events. Anyway, Mesprit heads to the top of Celestial Tower, a place to bury deceased Pokemon. Meanwhile, Azelf gets itself lost on Route 23. So, sure, I could pull the connection of Mesprit mourning the loss of the original dragon, as it's the avatar of emotion, and Azelf appearing in the route beside the giant chasm where Kyurem is first found, since it's the avatar of willpower. But I feel as though those two last ones are stretching it in terms of evidence, so I think I'll leave that up to you to decide. Then there are the creation orbs themselves. The Adamant, Lustrous, and Grisius orbs are tied directly to the Sinnoh trio, and in Black and White's postgame, Ghetsis was implied to have something planned in relation to them, possibly using the orbs to reconnect Kyurem with its two counterparts, but this never came to fruition, and instead he just ordered his subordinates to hand them over to the player. How generous of him. Coincidentally,
He just had those? See, that's crazy. Pokemon really do put a lot into their lore. It's like, at first glance, it does not seem like they put a lot into their lore, but they actually really do. Ain't no way they just gave you those items and not expect you to look anything else into it.
these
Because I'll be honest, if I had played Black and White, or Black 2, White 2, and they had given me those items, I was not thinking of anything else. I was just thinking, okay, that's just their cool way of giving me those items just to show them for me when I eventually get the Pokemon. No, there's an actual lore reason.
orbs also reappear within Unova's Dragon Spiral Tower in the sequels, the same place where the other stone was found in the first games. It's also said that this tower is where legendary Pokemon are created and then subsequently slumber, so it's quite fitting to have a part of the original dragon originally created by Arceus to be found here. While we're on the topic of smooth round stones,
Am I tripping or this look like Spirit Pillar? Like, back up, like when it gets to the very top, I mean. Like, I can't be tripping. That looks a lot like Spirit Pillar when it gets to the top.
this tower is where legendary Pokemon are created and then subsequently slumber, so it's quite fitting to have a part of the original dragon originally created by Arceus to be found here. While we're on the topic
It
of
looks a
smooth
lot
round
like Spirit
stones,
Pillar.
the Generation 5 games actually had an unused item called the Godstone in its code, which looks extremely similar to both of the other rocks. Since it
Yeah.
wasn't ever used, we can't be sure on whether this was a sort of prototype for the Dark and Light versions, or if this Godstone was actually meant for Kyurem. But for the sake of this theory, I will go on to say that it was, but never utilized for either another Legends game like ZA, or meant as a hidden teaser to those who data mine the game's code. Now, to wrap up the section about Arceus' balls, I would like to answer the question of where's the
Don't
original
scare me.
Dragon's Orb? While there isn't one found in any of the games, I believe that by combining the Light, Dark, and Godstones through something like an alchemical process, you would get the orb associated with the energy aspect. Why alchemical process? Well, that has something to do with the fact that the Tao trio actually has some pretty close connections to alchemy itself, with Reshiram embodying sulfur or spiritual wisdom, Zekrom embodying mercury or the active force, and Kyurem embodying salt, the grounding force which binds the other two. I actually thought of another smaller theory that might be worth mentioning. While I was comparing the Tao trio's moveset, I saw a little bit of a trend. What's if the move Tri Attack originated from this member of the Creation Dragons?
Oh, that would be
It's
cool.
not that far-fetched, especially with each of them learning a part of the move. Reshiram learns Flamethrower, Kyurem learns Ice Beam, and Zekrom learns Thunder Thunderbolt.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory.
Anyway, I think I hit all of the vital points for the theory, but maybe I missed something important. If so, then write a comment down below so that I can pin it to the top for others to see. If you want more theories like this, then subscribe to the channel. Arceus created the Pokemon.
Oh, let's start back over. Okay, yeah, I really like that theory. I like literally when I came into this video, I wasn't expecting it. Take a turn to the original dragon being part of their creation trio at all. Like I wasn't expected to take that turn at all. But yeah, it's too bad he didn't mention Giratina at all. Cause since Giratina is the literal god of antimatter, and so we could basically make the argument that Kirim or the original dragon was like a god of matter kind of. You would think that there would have been some kind of conflict between Giratina and the original dragon, and that's just that. It's always been my theory that that's why Giratina was banished, because he did something to the original dragon, or whoever, if the original dragon was part of the creation trio, or if it was just somebody else. Like so I'm a little upset he didn't mention Giratina at all, or maybe I could just be completely wrong at the same time though, and Giratina has literally nothing to do with with the fourth member of the creation trio. But then at that point, I still wanted to be explained exactly what Giratina did to be banished, because like when we saw in Pokemon Legends Arceus, he tried to overthrow Arceus, but that that was like after he had already been banished by Arceus. So at that point, he was just bitter from being banished. So he was trying to overthrow Arceus at that point. So what did he do before that? What did he do before? I mean, granted, you could just make the argument that he was just really violent. At that point, you could make the argument, but at that point, you would think instead of banishing him, he would have like rehabilitated him or something like that, or even just recreated him at that point. Like you would think you would have had like Dialga and Palkia help to try to keep him under control, and like almost kind of like how Rayquaza keeps Kyogre and Groudon under control by stopping them from fighting. Like have Dialga and, I mean, granted, Giratina probably is a lot stronger than Dialga and Palkia. So I guess it would probably make more sense for Arceus himself to keep an eye on Giratina. But like, I don't know. I might just be just throwing a bunch of bull crap out there, and it might be completely wrong. But it's just always a theory I've had that Giratina got banished for killing whoever the fourth member of the original trio. But hey, either way, Amaze Dragon, I really enjoyed your theory. This was really good. I'm gonna have to check out some of the other videos. He doesn't have too many views on his channel, but we have to check out some of them. I think there's one with like Ultra Necrozma, and it has something to do with Legends EA. I want to check it out. I want to check that one out. It looks cool. But anyhow, this is gonna be. Oh yeah, then we got the one with Zygarde. If you could look close down on the bottom right, you can see it sitting right there. It's like he's got Zygarde and Guzzlord on there. Guzzlord, right? Yeah, Guzzlord. But anyhow, let me go. Let me see how long. 17 minutes out of an 8-minute video. That's great. I told y'all I talk a lot. But this is going to be the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see me react to next. And until next time, y'all. See ya.